This is Cerebral Cinema. Movies of the mind.
Greed, hate, jealousy, revenge. These are the poisonous seeds of murder.
Yes, murder. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, we bring you, complete with bowler hat and brave mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot. Are you buying only what you need these days? The way you manage your wartime income vitally affects the welfare of the whole nation. Now make a plan of spending and saving. Put aside in savings, insurance, and above all, war bonds, as much of the family income as possible. Today in wartime, buy only what you need. And now, America's favorite mystery writer, Agatha Christie, brings you her world-famous little Belgian detective, Hercule Poirot, in the case of the roving corpse.
Et voilà, my dear Abby, the perfect finish to a perfect lunch. The salad. Beautiful, n'est-ce pas? What does it mean, this
Well, to tell you the truth, Chief, I've eaten better. That lettuce is wilted.
Oh, mon Dieu, mon Dieu, mon Dieu. When I engaged you to be my secretary and assistant, Abigail, it was because your little gray cells had some education. However, after 4 months in my employ, I am forced to conclude that your stomach has none. This salad is called laitue fatiguée.
Land sakes.
No, Abby. Weary lettuce. In Europe, I assure you, it is to be obtained only in the finest of restaurants.
Well, it just goes to show you, 50 million Frenchmen can be wrong. I'll still take my lettuce, crisp and crunchy, if you don't mind.
I do not mind. If you choose to remain a barbarian, that is your privilege. But the main course, that you enjoyed, huh? But did you not, Abby?
What? Oh, the shrimps were delicious.
Not shrimps, Abby. Escargot.
Snails. Snails? Good heavens, in the way I wolfed them down. I never even noticed.
Mademoiselle, you are a great disappointment to me. Not to notice snakes. Incredible. Something troubles you, huh? You seem a trifle distrait, a little absent-minded.
You notice everything, don't you? As a matter of fact, I am kind of puzzled.
But you do not wish to confide in me.
Well, I don't like to bother you with my little problems. But it is annoying me. Why I keep sticking my neck out, I'll never know.
What did the neck encounter?
A man.
Aha.
I picked him up in Central Park.
Oh.
He was young and handsome. Light brown hair, gray eyes, about 6'1", broad shoulders.
You're not always so observant. Eh bien, what is it about this young man that bothers you?
Well, for one thing, his clothes. You see, his hair was nicely trimmed, his fingernails were well cared for, but he was wearing the dirtiest hobo outfit I ever laid eyes on.
I see. Whereupon you raised the eyebrows.
I did more than that. I went right over and spoke to him. And then I really got a shock.
So?
Out of that tramp came the fanciest English you ever heard.
Yeah.
Give me the willies. I can't get over it.
Eh bien, I see you will not be an efficient secretary for Hercule Poirot until this mystery is solved. Very well. You may bring in this gentleman.
What?
You may bring him in, Abby. When I finish Café Noir, I will observe your young man and solve the mystery for you.
But holy jumping codfish, how would you know I had him here?
Very simple, mademoiselle. Here we are in my apartment. All the time you are describing him, your eyes keep wandering to the foyer door.
Yes?
And throughout luncheon, your ears have been listening to sounds other than those made by me. Bring your man in, Abby. I will talk to him.
I'm telling you right now, Chief, you won't get a thing out of him.
Nevertheless, bring him in.
Okay, Chief. He's all yours. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
Come in, young man. Sit down here, huh?
Thank you, sir.
My name is Hercule Poirot.
How do you do?
And yours?
I beg your pardon?
May I know your name?
I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know my name. I don't remember anything about myself.
Oh, so, amnesia.
You see, Chief? That's why I had to bring him here. I couldn't just leave him on the park bench.
Of course not, Abby. You did well to bring him. Perhaps we can help, monsieur.
Do you think you can, sir?
We can try.
It's no fun being this way. No fun at all.
I'm sure it is not. Tell me, monsieur, how long have you been this way?
Well, I don't know exactly. It seems like a few hours.
Wait, monsieur. Let us commence from the beginning. What is the first thing you remember?
Let me think now. There was a light, a strong light. It was a street light.
Uh-huh.
I was lying under it, looking up.
Were you hurt? Any pain?
Well, not pain exactly. I just felt groggy.
Oh.
I pulled myself up and began brushing my clothes. Then I stopped. They looked strange to me.
Comment?
My clothes, I mean.
Oh, oui.
I looked around and realized I didn't know where I was. And then I got panicky. My heart began to pump and I got weak all over. I realized I didn't know who I was, where I came from, or where I belonged.
Ah, my poor one. That is a terrible situation in which to find oneself. What did you do?
I began wandering around. I thought I was just stunned for a moment, that everything would come back to me. Then I figured I'd look around, perhaps find something familiar. Find out why I'd come to that place. It was no go.
Oh, you poor man.
I don't know how long I roamed around. Finally, I got tired, terribly tired. I dropped down on that park bench where this kind lady found me.
The name's Abby. Don't you remember anything before that?
No,
Your mother?
Mother. No, I just get a warm, pleasant feeling, but that's all. Monsieur Poirot, what shall I do? Go to a doctor or to a hospital?
You may have to do that. But it is not urgent. You are quite safe with us for the present. I presume you have gone through all your garments. There is nothing in the pockets, no paper.
Not a thing.
No, I did not expect there would be.
What?
You see, monsieur, those are not your garments. They are much too small. The trousers are old and baggy, but the bags are 2 inches above your knees, and your elbows protrude at the wrong places.
But why should anyone want to change clothes with me?
Maybe you had a nice suit on. Maybe a uniform. A policeman's uniform. That's it, you're a cop. You're closing in on the crooks, counterfeiters maybe, or kidnappers. They conk you on the head and then steal you out.
Abby, you are employing the imagination again. Not the little gray cell.
It's not imagination. It's a woman's intuition. What's wrong with my theory?
Nothing. Except it is only a theory. There are 1,000 theories. For example, the young man is not a gendarme, but a dangerous convict. He escapes from the prison, overcomes a harmless beggar, and exchanges his striped prison suit for these filthy but honest rags.
Bosh.
Precisely. Eh bien, we have already had too much of the conversation. The time has come for action.
Action?
Mm-hmm. What are you going to do?
We are going to retrace the young man's steps. Perhaps when he returns to the exact place from which he started, he will find...
What?
Himself. Come, my dear Abby. This is not the moment to admire the irises. Let us find the bench on which you discovered this unfortunate young man.
Well, it was right around here somewhere. I remember that little playground.
Uh-huh.
And the children shouting.
I still don't understand it. You say you don't remember anything before this morning. But you were perfectly able to read that sign back there.
Well, what is it you do not understand, Abby?
Well, he certainly didn't learn how to read again this morning. That much he remembers from his past.
Oui, amnesia is a strange affair. The victim remembers many things. How to talk, how to read, geography. Where is Paris, monsieur?
France.
You see? Again. Henri Wadsworth.
Longfellow.
Voila.
Gosh, you must be Clifton Fadiman. Don't you really remember your name? What did the kids used to call you?
I'm afraid it's no use.
Isn't it on the tip of your tongue? Oh, Chief, here it is. He was sitting right here on this bench, looking lonesome as a scarecrow on a deserted farm.
Eh bien, monsieur. Now we commence. You will now show us how you arrived here. Did you come from that direction, northward, or from the other direction?
Oh, let me see. Oh, yes. I came along that path. I'm sure of that.
Oh, now we shall pick up the scent like veritable hounds of the blood. Meanwhile, well, we cannot constantly call you monsieur. We must create for you the name.
I've got it. I found him in the park. Let's call him Parker.
Magnifique. Monsieur Parker, let us march. Well, Parker, what say you now? Which way the driver awaits your bidding?
Wait a minute. It'll come to me. I remember standing in front of that drugstore, staring and staring into the mirror. I must have come from around the corner. Turn left, driver. That big building on the right. It's a library, isn't it?
That's what it says.
Good. Straight ahead, driver.
You appear puzzled, Parker.
Well, I don't remember this at all. So many cars and people. We must have gone wrong somewhere. Let's go back to that market.
Bon, and with your permission, we will stop there for just a moment to purchase some magnificent artichokes I observed in the window, huh?
Well, here we are. Here's the lamppost where it all started. Now what?
Well, I don't know. There's something I can't quite grasp.
Gently, gently, breathe in. Some odor, perhaps.
Yes. Yes, it's coming to me. I seem to remember. Poirot, is there water around here, a lake?
But of course, monsieur, the river. It is just at the end of the street. Come, you will find yourself yet. I, Hercule Poirot, say it.
No, it's not this way, I'm sure. Back there, I felt closest to it. Back near the wall.
Very good. We will go back.
But there's nothing there, just a dirty little dog.
True, mademoiselle. As you say, a dirty little dog. But it is precisely from such a place that our friend Parker's clothes must have come.
Here's the spot. Right here, that feeling comes over me. The feeling that I've been here before.
But we've looked all around.
Then we must examine the interior.
Where are you going, Chief?
I will only take a glance here among the debris.
Well, be careful. You will mess up your
Oh,
clothes.
it does not matter. They have already lost the bloom of youth. I have, in fact... Yeah.
Chief, are you all right?
Parker, Abby, come here, please.
What is it, Monsieur Poirot? Have you found something?
Oui, monsieur. Of a certainty I have found something. Here, behind these barrels. Behold.
Good Lord.
Yes, my dear Abby. The lady is unquestionably dead. This is murder.
Join the Waves. It starts off with 6 weeks of boot training. This is followed by an assignment to a Navy base for active duty or to a Navy specialty school for further training. Now, the pay is good, attractive uniforms are provided, and any girl who joins the Waves gains invaluable training and experience. So, Join the waves.
No, Abigail, I find no marks of identification on the body. The purse, it is empty. The label is ripped from the fur jacket. Even the shoes are mutilated.
Jumping codfish, what are we getting into? First, we have Parker, dressed like a hobo. And now we have a corpse, dressed like a million.
Oui?
But both of them have one thing in common, identity unknown.
Nevertheless, my dear Abby, I have a little idea.
Be sure to listen tomorrow when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her world-famous detective, Hercule Poirot, in the second chapter of the case of the roving corpse.
Even the most clever murderer is so busy counting his chickens, he is likely to leave the stable door unlocked. N'est-ce pas?
From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, we bring you, complete with bowler hat and brave mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot. As our armies push ahead in Europe and the Pacific, the fighting grows more furious, and the number of men that need medical treatment thus grows in proportion. Particularly needed at this time are registered nurses. They'll be accepted by the Army immediately and will enter with the rank of second lieutenant. Nurses, join today. And now, America's favorite mystery writer, Agatha Christie, brings you her world-famous little Belgian detective, Hercule Poirot, in The Case of the Roving Corpse.
Monsieur Parker, stop, please.
Oh, it's you, Poirot. Thank heavens you're here. I'm terrified. You'd better do something quickly.
Well, you overrate my exceptional gifts, mon ami. I can do nothing. Yet, but why did you disappear, you and Abigail, from the restaurant where we went so I could telephone with Inspector Stevens?
Because I suddenly remembered something.
Vraiment? Ah, good. Your memory is beginning to come back, perhaps, Parker? The amnesia wears off.
No, Poirot. I can't remember back past this morning. Everything's still blank.
Well, let us try again to help it. You do remember that this morning my secretary Abigail found you wandering in the park. You were dressed in clothes that obviously do not belong to you. You could remember nothing at all of your past, not even your name. So for the sake of convenience, we gave you the name of Parker.
Yes, that's right. And then we tried to retrace my footsteps from where I first came to myself.
Ah, bon. We arrived finally at the waterfront at a dock just around the corner from here. And you thought the place looked familiar. Can you remember why?
No. There was just something about it that... And then we found that young woman's body.
Ah, and by a strange coincidence, she also had no identifying marks of any kind. Obviously, they had been removed by the one who shot her.
Do you think it might have been that young clerk from the express office nearby?
Monsieur Fred Asher?
Yes.
It is possible. If you remember, he said he had never seen the young woman. Yet, I found his footprints in the ashes near her body. Eh bien, what was it you remembered then? Had you perhaps met this young Asher before?
Oh, no, sir. All I remembered was the word toy.
Oui.
And it was tied up in some way with a large, shadowy building at the end of this street. Oh, this is all hopeless. I'll never find myself.
Oh, you will please leave that to me. At the moment, I concern myself rather with finding my secretary, Abigail. Where is she?
I don't know.
You do not know, but you are together.
Yes, but she left me to take a look down this street.
Comment?
You see, I got a feeling I'd been here before, and she wanted to check up. She just couldn't wait for you.
And you permitted her to go alone?
Yes. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have. Well, then I got worried and I went after her. But when I turned the corner, she was gone.
Monsieur, you are quite sure you did not see her? You have not lost your memory again?
No, I'm positive.
Then perhaps you will explain the presence of that object in your hand.
The object? Oh, the bag. Abby's bag.
Oui, monsieur.
Well, I was just going to show it to you. I picked it up on the sidewalk there.
Sapristi, you pick up the pocketbook and you simply stand there and do nothing. Monsieur, this is too much. Come, you will show me precisely where you found it.
All right.
It was right here, in front of this dark building.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid, Monsieur Poirot. I tell you, I'm afraid. There's something sinister here. Something that robbed me of my memory.
Oh, mais regardez, Parker. It is merely a warehouse. And I cannot leave you here, and I cannot leave her there. We must enter.
But, Poirot...
Have no fear, mon ami. You are with Hercule Poirot.
Look.
Where?
That sign. Toys. Jolly Toys, second floor. I told you
Oui, that sign interests me very much. You will observe that the other signs are covered with thick dust. But this one has only recently been wiped clean.
Abby.
Precisely. Please to squeeze the bell for the elevator, and let us hope we are not too late. Tiens, there is no attendant.
No, this is automatic. You just press the button for 2.
Oh.
I can't understand what toys have to do with me and with that dead woman. Who do you suppose she is?
Oh, these questions will be answered some other time. Just now... Voila, at the end of the hall. Jolly Toys.
This place doesn't look jolly to me. Gives me the creeps. What? Did you hear that?
Oh, it is Abby. Come, we must hurry.
Here, Poirot. This door here. Oh, it's locked.
Abigail!
Get me out of here. I'm locked in.
Be calm, Abigail, and stand back. Monsieur Parker will storm the door. Une fois encore.
Oh, jumping codfish, am I glad to see you.
Are you all right? We thought you might be...
I'm all right now, I guess. I was awful scared, though.
Oh, naturally. Tell me, mademoiselle, how did you arrive in this predicament?
Well, I saw the sign downstairs.
Which you brush off with your sleeve.
Uh-huh, so I came up here and began looking around.
The door offered no obstacle.
No, it was open. I saw the place was empty, so I walked right in. Then, suddenly, the door banged shut behind me. I never realized there was such a draft in that hall.
That is because there is no draft.
What? Well, then, what made the door slam?
Who knows? Perhaps you yourself closed it unconsciously.
No. In fact, I rushed right over to open it, but the spring lock had caught.
It is strange that you could not open it from within. An unusual lock.
No, it's not so unusual.
No?
No, I know a little about these things. I used to fool around with them. No, it's just jammed. You see?
Yes, I see. Very interesting. Eh bien, now that we are happily reunited, let us return to the dock and the unhappy Fred.
Oh, wait, Chief, just one moment.
What now, Abby?
Parker, step over here, please.
All right.
I want to try a little experiment. I'm going to open up this box suddenly. I want you to look in and say the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Well, yes, I'm ready. Go ahead. Susie.
Susie? Who's she? Who's Susie?
Well, I don't know. It just came to me when I looked at these dolls.
Oh, are you sure? Doesn't it mean anything to you?
Perhaps as a child you had a doll named Susie.
No, I don't quite see myself playing with a doll, do you?
Oh, that, monsieur, would depend on the doll. Now, these dolls I find of extraordinary interest.
I think they're ugly.
True. They are not very attractive, but their construction. Ingenious, huh? The heads unscrew off.
Well, I didn't notice.
Of course not. That is your weakness. You do not observe the essentials. For example, you have no doubt overlooked another strange thing.
What's that, Poirot?
Well, is it not peculiar that in this, the establishment of the Jolly Toy Company, there should be so few toys, jolly or otherwise?
Say, by George, that is queer.
Well, maybe in those big cases.
I do not think so. I have moved one or two. They are exceedingly light.
Here, I'll take a look. This one's empty.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Oh, this one, too. I wonder if... Listen.
How do you do?
Gosh, you give me a turn.
Really? I'm so sorry.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Quite. You all seem so very busy. I hope my arrival hasn't inconvenienced you. Perhaps I can even help.
Oh, that is possible, in a sense.
In a sense?
Oui. You see, we are endeavoring to clear up some baffling events.
For example?
For example, There is the matter of an unknown lady, but recently murdered down by the river. Intriguing, no?
No.
Then there is the matter of this young man who leans so gravely against the wall, staring at you. He has lost his memory. A case of temporary amnesia.
Indeed. My sympathies, young man.
For the moment, we have named him Parker. A little jest of my secretary since she made his acquaintance in the Central Park.
A pleasant bit of whimsy.
But Monsieur is not amused.
Why do you say that?
It is obvious, is it not? The lips smile, but the eyes, they are not friendly.
Forgive me. I'm not familiar with the etiquette of the situation. You see, it's not customary for me to come into my place of business and discover 3 very cool trespassers, one of whom is extremely talkative.
I see you are becoming irritated. Obviously, that is due to bad cooking. I can assure you, Monsieur Jolly, that with the proper seasoning...
The name is Brownlee. Sidney Brownlee.
Enchanté.
And you're right. I am a little tired of the performance you're giving, with that ridiculous accent and the comic opera mustache.
The accent, I assure you, is of the greatest authenticity, as are the mustaches. I present myself, Hercule Poirot.
Charmed, I'm sure. Now, if you'll all What was that name?
Hercule Poirot. You have perhaps encountered it?
I've heard of you, of course. They say you're the greatest French detective the world's ever known.
Oh, always people tell me that, but it is not quite true. I am Belgian, not French.
Well, this puts a different complexion on the matter. Assuming, of course, you're here on legitimate business and not on some private skullduggery.
Oh, have no fear, monsieur. We are here only in the interest of our unfortunate Parker.
You see, Mr. Brownlee, Parker has the most persistent feeling that his past is somehow tied up with this place.
He's mistaken.
Monsieur is quite certain?
Quite. Turn your face toward me, Parker. That's it. Now, turn round slowly.
You don't know me, do you?
Sorry, old man. No, Poirot. I have never seen him before in my life.
Well, that leaves us just where we were. I'd almost rather know I committed the murder myself than have this uncertainty.
Well, I still say it's mighty funny. Parker came to this place like a homing pigeon, and he knew there were toys here. He didn't see that in any crystal ball.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
We are all sorry. I regret, too, that we found it necessary to dismember this door. Had we but known that you were in the building...
No, Poirot. It won't do. I was not in the building. I just came in.
Ah, that is a pity. Alors, we will disturb you further. Abby, Parky, let us march. We will leave Monsieur Brownlee here to amuse himself with his toys while we return to the corpse.
Must we, Chief?
Well, of course, if Parker is the murderer after all, Inspector Stevens would like to meet him.
Do you really think that I might...
Wait. Monsieur's chauffeur appears to be having the difficulty starting the engine.
Hardly. I came here on foot.
So? Then who may that be?
Chief, that window faces front.
Allons voir.
It's a big black car.
Ah, c'est dommage. I should have liked to converse with that person. Not some other time, perhaps. But at the moment, allons.
I'll take you out to the elevator.
Monsieur is too kind.
Not at all. I shouldn't like to see anything else happen to you. Here we are.
Abby, shouldn't the elevator be up here?
What?
I mean, no one has gone down that we know of.
Very good, Parker. Very good indeed. I, too, was wondering.
Step right in, folks, and... Oh, there's a lady sitting there. Good Lord.
She's dead.
She is still dead. Do you not recognize her?
Oh, jumping codfish. It's the corpse we found at the wharf.
Accidents to farmers lost twice the number of man-hours needed to produce the average annual wheat crop of the United States. And therefore, accidents on the home front must be sharply reduced. And yet in the first half of 1944, traffic accidents had gone up 10% over the last year. Remember your ABCs. Always be careful.
Chief, I don't get it. What's it all about? Who killed this woman? Who is she? What's she got to do with Parker?
Calm yourself, my dear Abigail.
Oh, calm myself. With a corpse staring at me from an elevator floor? Mr. Poirot, how did she get here?
My dear Abby. Oh. Now you are employing the little gray cells. When we know that, we know everything. Meanwhile, I have collected a few more little ideas.
Be sure to listen tomorrow when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her world-famous little detective, Hercule Poirot, in the 4th chapter of The Case of the Roving Corpse.
Time and the little gray cells. These will always catch the criminal.
Hercule Poirot, Detective Extraordinary. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and magnificent mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot. Starring Harold Hubers in The Adventure of the Money-Mad Ghoul.
Good morning, Inspector Stevens. It is just 8:30. Do not tell me you have become a victim of the insomnia.
I'm not in the mood for kidding, Poirot. I've been up all night, but not with insomnia. I've just come from the Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
In that case, permit me to say that you are a singularly healthy-looking ghost.
That may be funny to you, but I frankly admit that I'm worried. There have been 6 grave robberies at Pleasant Valley in the last 2 months.
Then, mon cher Stevens, I advise you to look for a tall, red-headed man who walks with a limp, is left-handed, and wears glasses.
Poirot, you're amazing. How do you know?
Mon ami, your faith in me is touching. You enter my apartment and tell me that some graves have been robbed, and honestly believe that I know the criminal's identity. I assure you I am as much in the dark as you, until, that is, you provide me with more information.
Oh. Well, here are the facts as I have them. The robbery started about 2 months ago with the opening of the grave of Robert Alden. Now, this was followed a few days later by the grave robbery of James Bennett. In the next 6 weeks, the graves of Richard Colt, Alan Devers, Victor Edwards, and Michael Fallon were opened and desecrated.
Pardon. Exactly what did these ghouls take from the grave?
Everything.
A little moment, Stevens. You are trying to tell me that these ghouls took with them the caskets and the bodies?
That's just what they did. Took everything, and it beats me what in the devil...
Do not fly out of the handle, monsieur. Tell me, were these old graves which were violated?
Funny you should ask me that. All of them were the graves of people who died recently.
And that gives one 2 things. Eh, my friend? And now you will please get for me the names and the locations of the graves of people who have died recently whose last names start with a G.
With a G? What are you driving at?
Will you repeat for me the last names of the former occupants of the graves that have already been robbed?
Oh, Alden, Bennett, Colt, Devers, Edwards, Fallon.
Stevens. A, B, C, D, E, F. That is curious, n'est-ce pas? Strange enough so that you and I shall watch at the graves of the lately departed whose last names begin with a G.
I'm beginning to feel more like a grave watcher than a police officer, Poirot.
Do not fear, mon brave. No one would ever suspect you of being anything but a police officer.
What?
Flash the light on the tombstone, please. We must make certain this is the grave we seek.
All right. There we are. Yeah, this is it, all right. Herman Gilbert died May 16th, 1945.
Bon, let us conceal ourselves behind this hedge and wait. I think Monsieur Gilbert will have visitors.
I don't know what makes you so sure. There were 4 other people whose last names started with G.
Oui, mon ami, but this is the most recent.
You know, Poirot, I hate to admit this, but I'm mighty glad you're here with me. I don't like cemeteries. They're too gloomy and damp to suit me.
Stevens, hush.
Huh? You were right, Poirot. Someone coming.
Yes, and with the proper tools for their grisly work.
Somebody's here. Hey, stop! Come back! Stop, or I'll fire!
Now, Poirot, if you won't tell me what your angle on this case is, at least you might tell me where you're going.
Mon ami, if you promise not to sneeze, I will tell you.
You can't blame me for sneezing. I couldn't help it.
It is not the sneeze that annoys me. It is the effect it had upon the case. Now these robbers are warned that we are on the scent. They will be more cautious.
Well, where are we going?
We are here, at the place Robert Alden lived. The first person whose grave was opened. Is it not significant to you also, Stevens, that there have been no graves of women disturbed?
Yeah, that's so. I never thought of that.
You did not. I was so sure you had.
Well, what is it? Speak up. Don't keep me standing here in the draught.
Pardon, monsieur. But did a Robert Alden live here?
Robert Alden? Yes, he certainly did, but you can't see him. He's dead.
That we already know, monsieur. We would like some information.
Why? What are you bothering about Robert Alden for?
This is Inspector Stevens of the New York Police, and we wish some information.
Robert Alden was a fine man, as fine a man as ever lived. He used to try to cheat me at checkers once in a while, but I was too smart for him.
Were you related?
No, but he was my best friend and lived with me in this house for over 20 years.
Then perhaps we could see his wife.
That's a good one. Robert never married at all. He was a bachelor until the day he died.
I see. Were you at the funeral, monsieur?
Of course I was. Don't you think I have any decent feelings? I even remember the date. It was June 13th.
Yeah?
June 13th, 1920.
I'm all in, Poirot. And I don't understand this. Alden's been dead for 25 years. Nobody ever heard of Devers, Edwards, and Fallon. I can't make any sense out of this.
Patience, mon ami. We do know that there was a Richard Colt and that he has a widow.
Yeah?
Here's the house now. I beg of you to allow me to ask the questions, eh? The poor lady will doubtless be upset by her recent bereavement.
Okay, Poirot, I'll let you handle everything. Yeah, she seems upset, all right.
Madame Colt?
Well, yes, I'm Mrs. Colt. What is it you wish?
Are you Madame Richard Colt?
Oh, I suppose it's my husband you want to see. I'll call him. Dick? Oh, Dick, darling.
What the devil? Am I crazy or...
Yes, madame. We should very much like to see your husband.
Coming, Lydia. Well, darling, what's this all about? Who are these people, friends of yours?
I'd like to know what this is all about, all right.
Please, mon cher Stevens. Monsieur, I am Hercule Poirot, and this is Inspector Stevens of the police. He is disturbed because he finds you a singularly healthy ghost.
Ghost? I don't know what you're talking about.
You have had no other husbands, madame?
What are you saying? If this is some kind of game, I don't like it.
Be quiet, Dick. There's evidently been some mistake. No, Mr. Poirot, Dick is my only husband.
Well, he ought to be dead.
I'll punch you right in the nose.
Gently. And now, Madame Colt, if you would be so good as to close the door, we will attempt to perceive the reason behind your husband's so sudden return to life.
Now, let's get to the bottom of this.
That is exactly what we wish. You, Monsieur Colt, are supposed to have died on the 3rd of August of this year.
I never felt better in my life.
Who on earth could have played such a horrible joke on us?
Madame, I assure you, this is no joke.
But there must be other Richard Colts in New York. Are you sure you have the right one?
Yeah, we got the right Richard Colt. The manager of Pleasant Valley Cemetery gave us your address. I think you two better come along with me.
That will not be necessary, mon ami. We have a more logical task to perform. We go to call on the manager of the Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
Inspector Stevens, have you made an arrest as yet?
No, I'm sorry to say we haven't.
This is dreadful. Simply dreadful. I don't know what the world's coming to, and even a cemetery is no longer a peaceful place.
Yeah, I know how you feel, Mr. Kenton. Oh, this is Hercule Poirot, Mr. Kenton, the manager here.
Well, Inspector, you are making progress after all if you've obtained the assistance of the famous Mr. Poirot.
Thank you, Monsieur Kenton. And now, as one man of intelligence to another, perhaps you would like to answer a few questions for me.
Certainly. What is it you'd like to know?
What is the procedure for the interment of a body in this cemetery? By that I mean, do you personally see the bodies when they arrive here for burial?
No, Mr. Poirot. That is hardly necessary. All that is required is the issuance of a death certificate.
Then you did not actually yourself see the body of Monsieur Richard Colt?
Why, no. I should have thought it most unusual if I had. The undertaker simply gives me the necessary papers, and I make out the assignment of the grave.
And the name of the undertaker, if you please?
Well, let me see. I'm sure I have it here in the files. Yes, it's Love. Kermit J. Love.
And the address?
6611 Ithaca Street.
And now, if you would be so kind, could I perhaps have the names of the undertakers for the other 5 bodies disturbed by the ghouls?
Well, that will be difficult. But perhaps I can mail that information to you tomorrow.
I regret to disturb you, but I should like it now.
Very well. Here's a strange coincidence.
What's that?
If I may be permitted to guess, Monsieur, it is that Monsieur Kermit J. Love is also the undertaker for the others.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Poirot.
And now, Stevens, we go to walk into the parlor of Monsieur Love. One could be at peace in so gentle an atmosphere, mon ami. Did you not hear those beautiful chimes? That is enough pushing on the bell, Stevens. Someone is coming to the door.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Won't you come in?
Thank you, Monsieur Love. Come, Stevens.
May I offer my profound sympathy for your great loss. You may rest assured that Kermit J. Love will do all in his power to assist you in this moment of need.
We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Of course. We handle all the necessary details.
You've got the wrong idea. We want
I understand. Perhaps you would like your little friend here to speak for you.
That is an excellent idea, Monsieur Love. Wait outside for me, Stevens. I will take care of all details.
Oh, well, all right, but I don't see why I think...
Your friend is quite upset. Was it his wife?
No, he is not married.
I see. Then his mother, perhaps. Or some other close member of the family.
No. It is not that at all, Monsieur.
But I don't quite understand.
Then perhaps this will assist you. Were you not the undertaker for Alden, Bennett, Colt, Devers, Edwards, and Fallon?
I'm afraid that is a rather unethical question.
Unethical question? Oh, now it is I who do not understand, Monsieur.
Sir, you certainly don't understand. I take my profession seriously. If I may say so, I am doctor, lawyer, and minister to the dead. It is I who escort them into the next world, so to speak.
And I also, Monsieur, take my profession seriously.
Which is of no interest to me. You are exceedingly rude and inquisitive. I will not have the secrets of the dead laid bare. They must rest. Rest in peace.
But that is just what they have not been allowed to do, Monsieur.
That is regrettable, but I don't see how it concerns me.
This is a most magnificent establishment you have here.
Thank you. Good day.
Tell me, what are those cabinets in the wall?
Don't touch them. They are resting places for those awaiting burial.
And they are occupied now?
Most certainly.
Ah? I see the cards say that 2 of them are occupied by Monsieur P. Fox and Monsieur S. Martin.
I don't like your attitude. As I told you before, it's rude and unethical.
Rude? To inquire about your business with Messieurs Alden, Bennett, Colt, Devers, and Fallon? I am interested in whether you were the undertaker for those gentlemen, Monsieur Love.
You came in here with your friend and led me to believe you were seeking my professional services.
One moment, Monsieur. I'm afraid you leaped too quickly to that conclusion. My friend and I said nothing.
I am not permitted to release the information you've asked for.
And perhaps you will be good enough to oblige me when you learn the identity of my friend who waits outside.
If you will excuse me, I have some duties to perform.
He is Inspector Stevens of the New York Police. I can ask him to make this request for me.
Oh, the police? Well, that's an entirely different matter. Yes, I was the undertaker for the late gentleman you mentioned.
And you saw the bodies?
Naturally.
You are quite certain of this, Monsieur?
Kermit J. Love Incorporated is a reputable firm. We have been in business for the last 27 years. If I tell you I saw the bodies, there are no further questions necessary. Now, is there anything else you'd like to know?
No, Monsieur, that will be all for the moment.
Well, Poirot, looks like this time I was right. Kenton has no business down in this part of town.
Patience, mon ami. We have not yet seen what Monsieur Kenton does here.
We've seen enough for me. He ducked out of his house, and ever since we've been following him, he's been acting suspicious. Besides, there's nothing down here except factories and warehouses, and they're closed at night.
We will see. Aha, monsieur. It appears you may be right. Do you notice that car just turning the corner?
Hurry. Poirot, I believe we got him. Kenton's in on this.
Gently, gently. Let us stand in this doorway and observe what is going on, eh?
Hey, they're going to break into that cold storage plant. Come on, Poirot. Throw up your hands. Get Kenton, Poirot. He just turned the corner. Come back. Stop. Halt. God darn it. Poirot. Poirot, where are you?
Coming, my friend. Coming with Monsieur Kenton.
At least we got somebody. All right, Kenton, speak up. We know everything.
Speak for yourself, monsieur. There are still a few things that puzzle me.
It's as plain as pikestaff. Come along, Kenton.
Take your hands off of me. I warn you, Inspector, I'll sue you for false arrest. What's the meaning of always shouting and shooting?
Monsieur Kenton, perhaps you will be kind enough to explain what you were doing in this neighborhood at this time of night?
Certainly. I was going to get some pipe tobacco.
If you can't think of a better one than that, Kenton, come along.
Let us permit Monsieur Kenton to finish.
You'd better. You'll be making a bad mistake. It just so happens that I smoke a special kind of tobacco. It's mixed for me by a friend of mine.
His name?
His name happens to be Rosemary Leeds. She's a very charming girl engaged to my son. She's a chemist. She happens to have her office down here, and once in a while she mixes a particularly mild mixture for me, and I come down, pick it up, and take her home.
Yeah, that's a good one, all right. I suppose you didn't see that hearse.
I didn't see anything, but I heard a lot. Then Mr. Poirot asked me to come with him.
Poirot, I've got this all figured now. Somehow they're taking the bodies out of the cemetery to the cold storage plant and leaving them there.
What for, mon brave?
Well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out.
Do that, mon cher Stevens, and while you risk pneumonia, I will check upon Monsieur Kenton. Come, monsieur, we will see whether this Mademoiselle Leeds is waiting for you with your tobacco. Hello?
Poirot, take some advice. Lay off that investigation.
Pardon. Are you referring to the case of the counterfeit dentist?
You know darn well what I'm talking about. If you don't stop investigating those empty graves, you'll find yourself filling one of them.
I think not, monsieur.
What makes you so sure?
But it is obvious. You have not yet come to the letter P.
Wise guy.
Good day, Stevens.
What's good about it? We're not getting anywhere at all. I still don't trust that Kenton. I know his alibi stood up, but that dame's engaged to his son. Maybe they're all in it together. Well, have you got anything new?
I have just been informed that we have made considerable headway.
Yeah? Who told you?
I do not know.
Well, that's fine. We're making headway, but you don't know how.
I do know how. It is that I do not know who. I have just received a telephone threat against the life of Hercule Poirot.
All right, but I don't see how that helps. We get those all the time.
Observe, mon ami. Only one of 4 people could have inspired that telephone call. Either Monsieur or Madame Colt, Monsieur Kenton, the manager of Pleasant Valley Cemetery, or Monsieur Kermit J. Love, this so sympathetic undertaker.
Well, yeah, I suppose you're right.
But of course.
What are you doing?
Calling Monsieur Kenton.
Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
Monsieur Kenton, this is Hercule Poirot. Tell me, if you please, have you any funerals scheduled from the establishment of Kermit J. Love for today?
Why, yes, I have 3.
And their last names?
Wing, Levitt, and Harkness.
Ah, indeed. And what time is the Harkness funeral?
Well, that's strange. Kermit Love just phoned me about moving the time up to 10 o'clock this morning.
1,000 thanks, Monsieur Kenton. Quickly, Stevens, a police car and an escort. We must be at Pleasant Valley Cemetery in 15 minutes.
What for?
To attend a funeral.
We're almost there, Poirot. There's the entrance.
Mr. Poirot, what's wrong? What happened?
Quickly, the Harkness grave. Where is it to be?
In the east part, directly up this path.
This way, Stevens. Bring your men. We must hurry.
But what's wrong, Mr. Poirot? Why the police?
If we are not too late, you will have your answer. Stevens, look. There on the hill. They're getting into their car.
Yeah.
Stop! Stop! Save your breath and your ammunition. They're out of range.
We're always too late in this case.
I would not say that, my friend. Regard. We put them to such haste, they neglected to bury Monsieur Harkness.
Great Scott. The coffin's empty. They took Harkness's body with them.
Come, Stevens. Your face shows the worries of the world. Do not be so depressed.
Well, I'm not exactly happy, Poirot. Never taken you so long to figure out a case. You always had something that helped us when I came to your apartment before.
Patience, mon ami. The harvesting of the clues grows near, eh?
I can't wait for any harvest. I'm going to take all the people involved in this case and throw them into jail.
Mon ami. Now you are not using your little gray cell.
You work on the gray cells. I'm going to fill my cells down at police headquarters.
And that will be a benefit to no one. We must proceed with calm.
How can I be calm? We're up against a dead end. If we'd only gotten to that cemetery 5 minutes earlier. This whole thing's driving me crazy.
I admit the case holds a few peculiar aspects.
Peculiar? Is that all you can call it? Now, look, Poirot, we go to a funeral, but before we get there, the mourners decide to take a powder. Then they take the body with them. What's going on? Am I losing my mind?
I can only reflect on the case itself, Stevens, not on your personality.
Why are you so quiet? You got something up your sleeve?
It is always possible that something may pop out.
Well, it had better soon. I can't stand much more of this. The funeral this morning was too much for me. I still can't understand what they wanted with that body.
Sacre bleu, it is I, Stevens. I, Hercule Poirot, who have been blind.
What do you mean, Poirot? What's the matter?
Stevens, it has been in front of my eyes all this time. The most important clue, and I have kicked it away like an unwanted bill.
Okay, let's have it.
Listen carefully, Stevens. This morning at the cemetery, when we frightened the men away. You remember?
Yeah, of course. Go on.
Now think carefully. You did not see any of those men carry a body with them.
Wait a minute. No, they weren't. You're right.
Exactly. And the reason they were not carrying a body was because there was no body to carry.
What?
But the question remains, what was in that coffin that they were so anxious to take with them?
Well, I don't know. Do you?
I have a small idea.
What else can you put in the casket except the body?
A great many things, mon ami. But the point to follow here is about the bodies which were removed from the 6 open graves.
Yeah, what about them?
Think back to our interview with Monsieur and Madame Colte. He was very much alive. And we could not find even a trace of those other dead gentlemen,
Except Robert Alden, who'd been dead for 25 years.
Exactly. Now, do you not see?
No, I don't.
The answer to my question is so simple, mon Dieu. There never were bodies in the graves that were opened.
Oh, I get it. Why, that's wonderful, Poirot. I still don't get the idea behind these phony burials and what sort of racket they've been running.
Well, that is a 2-part question, mon ami. The first part I know. The second part, in due time.
You mean you know who's in back of all this?
There is only one possibility, Stevens. Since there were no bodies in the 6 graves that were opened, we can now proceed to apprehend the one man who claims to have seen all the 6 bodies.
Kermit J. Love, the undertaker. Yeah, but I think Kenton was in on it with him. He needed an accomplice.
Possibly. But it is Monsieur Love who interests me. And with such a man, we will have to move most carefully, eh? Have you ever tried to arrest a ghost, Stephen?
Maybe not, Poirot. But Love won't find me so easy to use in his disappearing bodies act. And this time, Kenton won't have an alibi.
Come, mon brave.
Where are we going?
To a perfume store, and then to the funeral parlor of Monsieur Love.
Perfume store? This is no time to be buying gifts.
It is not a gift. I require some perfume.
Okay. This time I know which one of us is going crazy.
Why do I have to make so much noise? Oh, well, I will not awake those who sleep in this building. What have we here? They are beautiful. They are worth a great fortune.
I admire your taste, Monsieur Poirot.
Monsieur Love. It is I who must compliment you. These stolen furs are among the finest I have ever seen.
We took great care in selecting them.
And the sables, magnifique. But did you not have difficulty in disposing of them?
Ordinarily, we would have.
But you initiated a new system, n'est-ce pas?
A system of cold storage, I would say.
Precisely. You put the furs in a coffin, selected a name at random, then buried only the name. The coffin contained the furs.
Who would think of looking for furs in a cemetery?
No one, monsieur. However, do you not think it was a bit obvious to proceed alphabetically so that you would know in what order to dig up the coffin?
We found it very satisfactory. What made you suspect us?
An even more obvious mistake, monsieur. Come, monsieur. Marking the cabinets that were supposed to contain bodies, but which actually held the stolen furs. S. Martin, P. Fox. If you intended that as a joke, it was a poor one.
I'm afraid it was just expedient, Mr. Poirot. I have no sense of humor.
Well, monsieur, I'm glad to see that you are so reasonable. Inspector Stevens is waiting outside.
Denny.
Yes, Mr. Love.
Ah, the driver of the hearse, Monsieur Denny. It is only natural he would be in this little game.
His name, Mr. Poirot, in your case, should be Charon.
An apt allusion, Monsieur Love. Charon ferried the bodies of the living across the river Styx, and they died.
Which is exactly what is going to happen to you.
But, monsieur, did I not tell you that Inspector Stevens is waiting outside?
But the way you're going out of here, Mr. Poirot, not even Inspector Stevens will know that it's you. You're going to be carried in a coffin. Watch his hand, Denny. It's in his pocket. Hurry, Denny. Get him in this coffin before that blasted Stevens gets...
Yeah. He's heavy for such a little guy.
That's it. Don't bother screwing the top down. We'll do that later.
Yeah, he sure smells sweet. Like a flower, almost.
Never mind that. Let's get going.
Yeah, I'll take the back end.
Don't hurry now.
Hold it a second, buddy.
Officer, please. We are dealing with the dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I see you're still working, Mr. Love.
Yes, Inspector. Unfortunately, our sad work never ends.
Something smells pretty funny to me around here, Riley. What would you say it was?
I don't know, sir, but it sure smells to high heaven.
That's it, with perfume. Let's have a look in that.
Will you kindly assist me, Monsieur Stevens?
Ah, glad you're all right, Poirot.
All right. Mon ami, I did not mind the blow on the head. But did you have to be so stupid as to allow them to drop this coffin?
Drop? Hey, wait a minute, Poirot. Don't get sore. Where are you going?
I am not angry, my friend. I merely go home to take a bath.
Be sure to listen next week when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her favorite sleuth, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Parallel Murder Case. Music for Poirot is composed and conducted by Sylvan Levin. The program is directed by Carl Eastman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Time and the little gray cells. These will always catch the criminal. Agatha Christie's Poirot.
From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and magnificent mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Deadest Man in the World.
Mr. Poirot. Oh, thank heaven you're in. I was afraid that... Please close the door quickly. That's better. Thank you. He may have followed me if he knows that I came to you.
Mademoiselle, you have the advantage of me. You know my name. I do not know yours. But no matter. You seem to be in trouble. I have found that a cup of tea is...
Oh, no, I mustn't stay. We haven't time.
Mademoiselle...
Shepherd.
Shepherd. Mademoiselle Shepherd, what you have said is intriguing, but confusing. If you want my help...
I'm sorry. I haven't made anything clear, have I? You see, Derek killed my daughter.
Mademoiselle, Are you asking me to investigate the death of a dog?
Oh, no, you don't understand. I know I'm telling this badly, but...
Perhaps it is my fault, mademoiselle, for being impatient and hastening to conclusions, eh?
You see, I live at Manhattan. You've probably never heard of it.
A small suburb of New York, about 37 minutes by train from the Long Island station.
Oh, you know it then?
No, a small hobby of mine. I read timetables.
Oh. Well, I live there with my Uncle James.
Pardon, mademoiselle, but if my memory does not betray me, James Shepherd is a famous name. Is he not called...
The luckiest man in the world. Yes, that's Uncle James.
I have often asked myself if the newspapers were not wrong to call him lucky. I myself would have them change it to the shrewdest man in the world.
What makes you say that?
A simple deduction. Any man who wins the grand prize in the Dublin sweepstakes 40 years ago takes all his winnings and boldly breaks the bank at Monte Carlo, and then, mademoiselle, and then has never gambled since. There is a man who makes good use of his little gray cells.
I suppose some people might look at it that way, but others say that Uncle James is tight.
Well, no matter. Was it your uncle who sent you to see me? Is he also concerned about the death of this dog?
Oh, no. Uncle James mustn't know anything about this. He's very ill, his heart. If he found out what was hanging over me, I'm afraid it would kill him.
I see.
Everything was all right until about a year ago. Uncle James was raising his rose, and we were all very happy, and then Derek Redfield took the house next to ours. He was young and attractive.
And you are also young and attractive, and so you fell in love. But yeah, that is only natural, mademoiselle.
Yes, but what happened next isn't. Derek is... Oh, he's charming, Mr. Poirot, but he was insanely jealous. I noticed it before we became engaged, but he was just difficult then. After we became engaged, well, it was impossible.
And so you broke the engagement and returned his ring.
How did you know?
Mademoiselle, that is obvious. You tell me you are in difficulty. You tell me you were engaged. And yet I see no ring on your hand. Voila, you have given it back.
You're right, but that's what started all this. Derek is going to kill me.
Oh, come now, mademoiselle, you are not serious.
I was never more serious in my life.
Mademoiselle, if we were to suspect every young man who threatened to kill his loved one when the affairs of the heart went badly, poof, half the population would be in jail.
And what about the dog? What about Taffy? He said he'd kill Taffy, and he did.
But, mademoiselle, what makes you so certain your dog was killed?
This. I knew you wouldn't believe me, so I brought it along. This is the meat, or part of it, that poor Taffy found in the garden last night. He ate it and died. It's horrible. Just smell it, Mr. Poirot.
Yes, it is unmistakably poison. I confess this puts a different aspect on the affair.
Then you will come down to Meriton and help me.
No, mademoiselle?
But why not? Surely you believe me. He told me he'd kill Taffy as a warning. He knew I loved Taffy with all my heart, and he poisoned him. I'm frightened, Mr. Poirot. You must protect me.
Mademoiselle, I am not a guard for the body.
Oh, but you must, I tell you, you must.
Could you not go away for a little while?
It's no use. He'd follow me. Anyway, I can't leave Uncle James. Oh, Mr. Poirot.
Have you spoken to the police about this?
No, they wouldn't help me. I was depending on you. I thought you'd do something. Seems funny that somebody can be killed. Somebody can know she's going to be killed. Nobody will help her. Doesn't that seem funny to you, Mr. Poirot?
Excuse me, mademoiselle. I had to do that. Hysteria is not only unpleasant, but it also accomplishes nothing.
I'm sorry. Would you mind raising the shade? I'd feel better if there were a little more light.
Not at all. Voila. Better?
Much, thank you.
Perhaps a cigarette. I myself find they have a singularly soothing... Pardon. Hello?
Mr. Hercule Poirot?
Speaking?
This is a warning. If you know what's good for you, stay away from Elaine Shepherd.
Who is this? Mademoiselle, Hercule Poirot has changed his mind. You may expect me at Manhattan this evening.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Poirot.
No thanks, mademoiselle. I do not like people who kill dogs, and above all, I do not like to be threatened.
Derek.
Elaine, here. This way.
Derek. Oh, Derek, my darling.
Anybody see you?
Not a soul. I left the house the back way. You know no one ever comes here. Oh, Derek, why couldn't you come back with me on the train?
Are you crazy? We mustn't be seen together now. That'd ruin everything. Just when we have it all in our grasp.
All right, darling. You know best. Everything went just as you said it would. I was afraid you wouldn't see him pull up the shade.
I knew he might prove difficult, but I was positive that phone call would get him. The clever Monsieur Poirot.
He'll be here this evening.
Sure, just the way I figured it. The servants will be out tonight, and the luckiest man in the world will soon be the deadest man in the world. And we'll have the money.
What about Anne?
Oh, he probably got her a few thousand, but what's the difference to us? We can afford to be generous. There's millions there.
But Anne's his adopted daughter. He's terribly fond of her.
Yes, I know, but Anne's only 7 years old, and you're his niece, his own flesh and blood. You'll see. He's left practically all of it to you.
Yes. I hope you're right, Derek.
What's the matter?
I know we've been thinking about this for a long time, Derek, but the doctors did say that Uncle James doesn't have long to live. Couldn't we...
No. We've been waiting a year now, and his luck's still holding. We might go on waiting for another 10. You don't want that, do you?
No, but...
We want that money now, Elaine. Now, when we're young enough to enjoy it.
Oh, Derek, are you sure nothing can go wrong?
There isn't a chance in the world for anything to go wrong. Unless you slipped up somewhere today.
I did everything you told me to, only...
Only what?
Oh, I don't know.
You're just nervous. Poirot's coming down, isn't he?
Yes.
Then that means he's fooled. I've got everything all set. You know what you have to do when you get back to the house, huh?
I know. He's been through it 1,000,000 times.
That's a girl. When Monsieur Poirot arrives to stop me from killing you, we'll make him an accessory to another murder.
Here you are, buddy. The shepherd joint.
1,000 thanks.
Okay, but if it's all the same to you, I'd rather have one tip.
And that, too.
Oh, Monsieur Poirot, come in. You don't know how glad I am to see you.
Mademoiselle, it is a great pleasure to receive such a hearty welcome.
There's a deep, dark plot behind my welcome.
I suspected as much.
Yes. You see, tonight is the servants' night out. I didn't want you to run away because you'd have to put up with my cooking.
But, mademoiselle, that will be a pleasure, if I may help.
You?
But people who have had the pleasure of sampling the cooking artistry of such famous chefs as Escoffier, Oscar, and the immortal Monsieur de Gouy, these people, mademoiselle, say there is yet one greater chef.
Who?
Hercule Poirot.
Oh, then I'm doubly glad to have you. Oh, there's Uncle's phonograph. That means he's awake. Wouldn't you like to go upstairs and meet him? That is, if you don't mind climbing 3 flights.
Oh, I should be delighted, but did you not tell me that it would upset him to know that I am in the house?
Oh, don't worry about that. I'm going to tell a little white lie. Now, don't you be surprised at anything I might say.
On that score, be at ease, mademoiselle. I have come to expect extraordinary things from you.
Uncle James, this is Mr. Poirot. Mr. Poirot, my Uncle James.
I've heard of you, Mr. Poirot. Wait until I turn this phonograph off, and then you can ask me some questions.
Questions, monsieur?
Sure. And the only reason I can see for a famous detective like you coming to Manhattan is that you suspect me of murdering someone. All right. Fire away.
No. I assure you, monsieur, my visit has no such purpose.
And then you're here to find out how I broke the bank at Monte Carlo. You'd be surprised how many people want to know.
Well, that of a surety I would love to know. But I am certain that is something beyond my poor powers of discovery, eh?
You're just as smart as they say you are, and I like you. So I'll tell you how I did it. I was just lucky as the devil.
Now, Uncle, Mr. Poirot really came down because he heard about your roses. He's interested in gardening.
Well, of course he is. Any smart man would be. I tell you, Mr. Poirot, the roses are all right. Of course, not as fine as they used to be when I was able to get out and tend to them myself. And now my greatest pleasure is playing records on this phonograph.
And a very fine machine.
Mr. Poirot is also a good cook, or so he says. He's going to help me with the dinner.
And so I am, mademoiselle. Now, what do we have?
Well, there's a duckling.
With a sauce bigarade. I insist on it.
If you know how to make it.
But of course.
And some string beans. But I can take care of those. You just boil water and...
No. It is a sacrilege. You must not destroy the flavor. They must be steamed gently, mademoiselle. And
all right, you win. Come along and show me.
I will indeed, mademoiselle. Directly after I have my bath, I will make a sauce bigarade that would make Escoffier himself jealous. Ah, mademoiselle, I thank you for a magnificent dinner. Superb.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And the sauce bigarade?
A masterpiece. I have never prepared it better.
I hope you didn't mind my asking Derek over after dinner.
No, I did not mind, but I do not see what you hope to accomplish.
I know it's probably silly, but if Derek sees that you're actually here, he'll realize that I'm serious and leave me alone.
I shall not threaten him, mademoiselle. Threats are useless.
No, there he is. Oh, no, don't bother. I'll let him in.
Elaine, I got your message. I came right over. Does it mean you forget... Who's this?
May I present Mr. Hercule Poirot? This is Derek Redfield.
Poirot? Well, if you did this to impress me, Elaine, you've certainly succeeded. I've heard of you, Mr. Poirot.
And I of you, monsieur.
Yes, I know. I can just imagine what Elaine's been telling you. You must think I'm a pretty bad sort of guy, but... you really got me in a spot, Elaine. How about a little drink to sort of help me out, huh?
Would you like something, Mr. Poirot? A little sherry or port or something strong?
Port will do excellently, mademoiselle.
Then if you'll just press that button next to your chair, the maid will bring it. I'm too lazy to move.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
I suppose Elaine's told you how I made a complete fool of myself and scared her half to death, Mr. Poirot. But I hope you can realize how it is when a fellow's in love.
Mademoiselle, it has just occurred to me. There is no maid to bring the port unless she has already...
Of course, I completely forgot how stupid of me. It's only a little after 9. Servants won't be back until 11. I'll get it.
Hey, what did you ask me over for, to ignore me? I was hoping that maybe we could straighten everything out tonight.
I'll tell you exactly why I called you when I come back.
Ah, the danse macabre, eh? Monsieur Shepard seems to have a rather morbid taste in music.
Look, Mr. Poirot, you can ask me any questions you like, but I've got to convince you that I don't mean any harm to Elaine.
Tell me, monsieur, you did kill her dog?
Well, yes, but...
Here we are. I hope you'll find the port to your liking, Mr. Poirot.
Elaine, I just admitted that I killed Taffy, but I only did it because I love you. You know, sometimes you want to hurt the person you love.
Derek, I asked Mr. Poirot to come down here to show you that I'm serious. When I tell you I never want to have anything to do with you again. I can never forgive the way you've acted. And if you make any more threats, Mr. Poirot will know how to deal with it.
But, Elaine, if you'll only listen...
I have nothing more to say to you, Derek. Oh, Uncle's turned off the Victrola. What time is it, Mr. Poirot?
It is 9:15, mademoiselle.
I'd better run upstairs and see if Uncle wants anything. Good night, Derek.
But, Elaine...
I said good night.
Mr. Poirot, I'm desperate. Maybe you can understand the way I feel. Would you talk to her and put in a good word for me?
I am afraid, monsieur, that I would find it slightly ridiculous for me to plead the suit of a man who terrifies a lady to such a degree that she seeks my services to protect herself from him.
But I...
Sacre bleu! Mademoiselle! Mademoiselle!
It's Uncle James. He's fallen out of the window. He's dead.
Good morning. What's your name?
Hercule Poirot. And yours, my little one?
Your name is funnier than mine. I'm Anne Shepard.
Ah, then you are the sister of Mademoiselle Elaine.
Oh, no, Elaine's my cousin. Not really, you know, because I'm adopted.
Ah, yes, I see. Your father was...
You think Daddy will be away long? He told me this morning that he went away.
As to that, I could not say, but...
How did your mustache get to grow so long? Daddy has a mustache, but not one like that.
Ah, ma petite, very few men have. How long have you been living with your daddy?
Oh, a long, long time.
But you haven't told me whether your mustache is real.
I assure you, my little one, it is real. Just like your hair.
Oh, you have to brush your mustache then like I have to with my hair?
Oh, yes, indeed. One has to take care of a mustache, you know.
Could you show me how you brush it now?
I would like to, ma petite, but I have not the time.
What is ma petite?
It is French. It means my little one.
When Daddy comes back, I think I'm going to learn French.
You love your daddy, eh?
I should say so. Are you going to live with us now?
Perhaps for a little while.
How long?
I do not know. It depends, you see, my little one.
Why? Is it because of the noise last night?
Dis donc, do you like fairy tales?
Oh, yes. Sometimes I tell them to myself. Go for a walk in the woods and I make them up.
Oh, but how that is nice, eh? Perhaps you would tell me one sometime, eh?
Oh, no, I'd rather have you tell me one. I like you.
And I like you, my little one.
Can you tell me the story about the Snow Queen?
Oh, alas, that is a fairy tale I do not know. But I will tell you another one. Once upon a time, there was a great, big forest. And in this forest, there lived a very little girl.
Now I've seen everything.
Inspector Stevens, do you know Mademoiselle Anne Shepherd?
Oh, hello, little girl.
Hello. He was telling me a fairy tale.
I heard him. But would you do me a favor and leave me alone with Mr. Poirot for a little while?
All right. If he promises to finish the story.
I promise.
Bye. Don't forget your promise.
Well, Poirot, there doesn't seem to be any trouble about this one.
No. The coroner, he has ascertained the cause of death?
No question about that. He died from a fall out of his bedroom window onto those jagged rocks while you and Miss Shepherd and Mr. Redfield were down here in this room.
Are you quite certain, my friend?
You told me neither of them left the room.
Well, Mademoiselle left to bring some wine, but she did not have sufficient time to run up 3 flights of stairs.
And he was wearing a wristwatch, which was pretty well smashed up. The hands had stopped at 9:15. There was a medicine bottle and a spoon on the floor near the window. Now, what I figure is that he must have felt sick, got up, tried to get the medicine, and he fell out of the French windows.
Perhaps.
Yeah. What do you mean, perhaps?
Me, I have an idea it was no accident.
You mean you...
Yes, my friend. Murder.
What? Murder?
A particularly vicious and carefully planned murder.
Do you know who did it?
I think so.
Well, what are we waiting for, Poirot? Let's get going.
Gently, my friend, gently. I think it was murder. I even think I know how it was done. But alas, I could not prove it. The murderers would get clear away in a court of law.
You mean you're going to let them get away with it?
No, that I will most certainly not allow. But we must annoy them, Stevens.
That's the first time I've ever heard of annoying murderers. I generally arrest them.
I do not like murderers, my friend. And when we arrest these, we will make certain they are not set free. The little gray cells, Stevens. The little gray cells have found a way.
What do you mean?
Murder breeds murder, my friend. And a murderer always repeats. If he poisons once, he poisons again. If he stabs once, he stabs again. If there is an accident once, there is an accident again.
What are you going to do about it?
Me, I shall help to create an accident. I am going to telephone a lawyer.
And now that we're all together, I think that we can proceed with the reading of the will. As the late Mr. Shepherd's attorney, I am the trustee of the estate. I, James B. Shepherd, being of sound mind and body, do him. I believe that we can skip all that. Here. All my property, both real and personal, I leave to my adopted daughter, Anne Mary Shepherd, to be held in trust for her until she attains the age of 21. To my loving niece, Elaine Shepherd, I bequeath the sum of $2,000.
Some water, please. It appears Mademoiselle Shepherd has fainted.
Derek!
Quiet.
Derek, the will. The will.
What about it? What happened? Will you stop shaking and tell me?
Uncle James left everything. Left it all to Anne.
What?
All of it.
I don't believe it.
It's true. We were all there. McBride read it to us.
But it's impossible.
Didn't he even mention you?
Yes. He left me $2,000.
$2,000. That's good. That's very good. What are we going to do with $2,000?
I don't know. Oh, Derek, it's all gone wrong. I knew it when I knew it. I'm sorry we ever started. We never should have done it.
Hey, wait a minute. I think I have an idea. Sure, that's the solution. It's easy.
What?
If you'd only stop and think, you'd see the way it has to be.
Derek, I don't know what you're talking about.
Who inherited the money, Elaine?
Why, Anne... No. No, Derek.
I say yes.
Derek, you mustn't. Listen to me. Remember what you said about planning things? The people who didn't think things out made mistakes.
Never mind that. I know what I'm doing.
No, Derek, we planned something, thought it all out. Look what happened. Even if we do something to Anne, I still won't get the money.
Don't be a fool. You have to get it. You're the only living relative. Now, listen, Elaine. Inspector Stevens has gone back to New York. We're perfectly safe.
I won't help you do anything to Anne.
What makes you so soft about Anne all of a sudden? A bride who doesn't even belong to your family. Where does she come in for anything?
Oh, Derek, I'm frightened. I won't do this with you.
Oh, yes, you will. That's one thing I'm sure of now. We're together, Elaine. Together for life. Don't forget, you were with me on one murder. And you're going to be with me on another.
Come in.
Mademoiselle, I have come to say goodbye. My train leaves within 10 minutes.
Oh, yes. This has been so dreadful, I hardly know what to say to you. Such a terrible accident. If you'll send me your bill...
No, mademoiselle. You owe me nothing.
That's very kind of you. Of course, now I'm afraid I shall have to get used to economizing.
Mademoiselle, before I go, is there anything you would like to tell me?
Tell you? Why, no, I can't think of anything.
You are no longer afraid of Monsieur Redfield?
To tell you the truth, I've had so many things to think about. I haven't even given Derek... Well, he hasn't entered my mind.
What are your plans?
What?
Do you intend to stay on here with Mademoiselle Anne?
What? I hadn't considered it. I don't know.
She is a very charming child. I spoke to her this morning and told her the truth about Monsieur Shepherd. She is very sad. I think you should see that she is helped.
Oh, I intend to. I'll do everything in my power.
I am sure you will, mademoiselle. Au revoir.
Walk much more, Elaine.
Oh, you've got to grow up to be big and strong. Remember, I promised you ice cream.
Don't think I'd like it now. Can't we play Indian?
I didn't know little girls played Indian.
I didn't make it up. Roy taught me. You know Roy, Uncle Derek?
No.
Do so. He's a boy who lives in a big house down the road. See, this is the way we play. I run away and hide.
Anne! Blast that brat.
You'll frighten her. Anne, dear. Come back.
Where did she go?
Here I am. See, I'm very good at it. Sometimes even Roy can't find him. He's a scout.
Anne, I don't want you to do that again.
Yes, you might get hurt. There might be some bad men in the woods.
Oh, pooh.
Come here, Anne.
But you're so near the edge.
I said come here.
No, I don't want to.
Anne, did you hear me?
Yes, but I don't like you. I'm going to run away and hide.
You're not going to run anywhere. There, I've got you.
Oh, Mr. Poirot.
Mr. Poirot. So you didn't take the train?
As you see. I am afraid that woods and flowers do not agree with me. I must have the fever of the hay.
Cut it out.
Pardon?
That means stop trying to fool us. You're a little cleverer than I thought.
A little? Oh, monsieur, for the sake of courtesy, let us say a great deal, eh? Come here, Anne.
Go.
Just how clever are you, Poirot? Hold still, Anne.
Ah, monsieur, really. Such a transparent little plan, eh? You send a charming young lady to my apartment with a very sad tale. She is so distressed. I must protect her from this terrible fiancé. And everything prepared for me, even to the poisoned meat. This meat so strongly dosed and evil-smelling that not even a starving dog would have eaten it, monsieur. So I say to myself, these people must have a reason for wishing Hercule Poirot at Manhattan. What is it? And that evening I find out. You have murdered Monsieur Shepherd.
I told you.
Shut up, you fool.
Is that all you have to say, Poirot?
And you, mademoiselle, the window shade. Did you really believe that such an old trick would deceive Hercule Poirot? You become hysterical and you need light. Oh, mademoiselle, you asked me to raise the shade, and then the so convenient telephone call.
So what? You can't prove we murdered anyone. We were right there with you when Shepard died.
Ah, no, monsieur. Monsieur Shepard did not die at 9:15. You killed him earlier, much earlier, before dinner, in fact, while I was bathing. That is the only possible time. It is easy to set the hands of his watch. Then you came over and played your little comedy with me.
Oh, you're crazy. You heard him playing his Victrola as well as we did.
I heard the Victrola, monsieur.
Then if he was dead, who started it?
That, monsieur, is what makes me to burn. I started it myself, when Mademoiselle Elaine asked me to press the button for the servants. After making so much bother about their being out, you simply had the wire set for that button to start the racket automatically in Monsieur Shepard's bedroom. That was supposed to prove he was alive. You removed the wires last night.
All right. You have it all figured out. But you've overlooked one thing.
I think not. It is not Hercule Poirot who makes mistakes.
But you made one this time. This is the last bit of detecting you'll ever do because you're going over the cliff.
No, Derek, no.
Here, hold the kid for me.
Monsieur, you are even more stupid than I thought.
Yeah, this is perfect. Everyone knows the kid liked you. You went walking together and fell over the cliff. Those shoes of yours weren't made for the country. Another accident.
I think not. Give me the child, mademoiselle.
This is it.
All right, Inspector. I believe you've had enough.
There we are, Redfield. You haven't a chance.
Oh, you little smart aleck. You'd never have proved a thing if the will hadn't left all that money to that brat. You couldn't have proved it.
Precisely, monsieur. That is why I induced the lawyer to read a false will. The real one left everything to Mademoiselle Elaine.
Be sure to listen again at the same time next week when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Book and the Corpse. Agatha Christie's Poirot is directed by Carl Eastman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Agatha Christie's Poirot. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crime, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and brave mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Case of the Careless Victim. Before meeting Hercule Poirot in his first American adventure, it seems only fitting for the millions of faithful readers who have followed the little Belgian detective's career in book form to meet the famous lady who created this famous character. So it is our privilege to present a message from Agatha Christie introducing Hercule Poirot from London, England. The next voice you hear will be Miss Agatha Christie's. Go ahead, London. We regret that due to atmospheric conditions, we have been unable to bring you Miss Christie from London. However, we have a recording which she made earlier today and which was transmitted by shortwave to this country. We present it now.
I feel that this is an occasion that would have appealed to Hercule Poirot. He would have done justice to the inauguration of this radio program, that he might even have made it seem something of an international event. However, as he is heavily engaged on an investigation, about which you will hear in due course, I must, as one of his oldest friends, deputize for him. The great man has his little foibles, but really, I have the greatest affection for him, and it is a source of continuing satisfaction to me that there has been such a generous response to his appearance on my books. And I hope that his new career on the radio will make many new friends for him among a wider public.
Thank you, Miss Agatha Christie.
And now, Mutual presents Hercule Poirot in his first American adventure, The Case of the Careless Victim.
Mademoiselle?
Huh?
This is the Cozy Home Apartment Renting Agency.
Well, we got something to rent, yeah.
I have the desire to rent an apartment.
Who hasn't?
Please, mademoiselle, do not jest. Alors, I have with me a brief dossier of my requirements. Please to read it.
Well, all right. Gentleman desires a bright sun-shining apartment of a reasonable quietness near the heart of the city. Should be furnished with the utmost charm, French, provincial, if possible. Price is of no consequence as long as it is very reasonable. Please communicate with me at the Hotel Windsor, Hercules, P-O-I-R-O-T. Poirot.
No, mademoiselle. The name is Poirot. Hercule Poirot.
Well, I wish you luck, Mr. Poirot.
Well, finding an apartment, mademoiselle, is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of employing the little gray cells. If you can find an apartment for me, please do me the kindness to inform me.
Sure, if you'll do something for me.
And what is that?
If you can find an apartment for me, please do me the kindness to inform me.
Going up. Floor, please.
Number 5. You are new here, no?
Yes, I only came on yesterday. You're Mr. Poirot, aren't you?
Poirot.
Oh, Poirot. One of the boys pointed you out. Yes, sir. 5th floor.
Oh, 1,000 apologies, madame.
Not at all. It was entirely my fault.
Madame appears troubled. Perhaps I may be of some slight assistance.
No, Well, if you're sure you don't mind.
But of course not.
You see, it's my door. It won't open.
And where is this alternate door?
It's right down the corridor, room 515.
If I may have the key.
But that's just it. The door isn't locked. I left it open only 10 minutes ago.
Indeed. Madame is very trusting, eh?
It is. You see, it's stuck. It won't budge.
It is not precisely stuck, madame. It gives a trifle. This door is barricaded.
Oh, my goodness.
Voila, she moves, eh?
Oh, thanks a million. Now, what do you suppose...
No, wait, madame. Perhaps it is better if I look first. Hélas. It is as I have feared.
What is it?
You do not know? Look.
Oh, it's a man. Is he...
Oui, madame. He has been strangled.
Oh.
This is murder. Zit alors, I must compliment you, madame. Your color, it is excellent, and you did not even commence to faint. For one who...
I don't fall apart in a crisis, if that's what you mean. And furthermore, I'm not madame. I'm mademoiselle, by choice. Miss Abigail Thresher. And now, if you'll get that corpse out of here, I'd like to sit down.
That I regret I cannot do, mademoiselle. The body must not be touched before the police arrive.
Police?
Well, yes, of course, the police. I am calling them now. Hello? Inspector Stevens. It is I, Hercule Poirot. Alas, no. I have not yet found the apartment. But I have found something of perhaps more interest. A corpse. Right here in my hotel. Room number...
515.
Number 515. Mademoiselle, what are you doing with the body?
Nothing. I was just trying to see his face.
You will have that opportunity later. Pardon, Inspector. We are room 515. Bien. We shall expect you immediately. Eh bien, Miss Thresher, now that you have observed the face of this unfortunate one, perhaps you will be good enough to tell me who he is?
I certainly will not. I'll wait for the police and let them ask the questions.
As you desire, mademoiselle. I merely wish to point out one thing. It is you the police will question first.
Me?
But of course, you are the most likely suspect, no?
All right. What do you want to know?
First, what are you doing here in this hotel?
Why, I've lived here for 10 solid years, ever since I left West Costigo, Maine.
And what do you do? What is your occupation?
Why, I don't have any occupation. I've got a little income, and I like it here in New York, and last few years I've been doing war work, Red Cross, and things like that.
You seem a trifle vague, mademoiselle. Now, about this man. Who is he?
I don't know. I never saw him before in my life.
Mademoiselle, I advise you to consider your answers with care. Do not forget, a man lies dead in this room.
I can't help that. I don't know who he is or how he got here. I told you I was out of the room for 10 minutes.
That may be, Miss Thresher, but it does not help you. This man has been dead for at least 1 hour.
How do you know?
If you will touch the body, you will observe it is already beginning to cool. Therefore, mademoiselle, if you left this room only 10 minutes ago, your situation is indeed grave. For this man was already dead.
Oh, but I couldn't have done it.
So? And why not?
Because his body was lying right across the doorway. You know perfectly well I couldn't get out through this doorway and still leave a body wedged against it. Belgian surety, indeed.
Very good, mademoiselle. But you could have murdered him in here, make your departure by way of this fire escape through the room overhead, and come down inside the building to this corridor where you so innocently made my acquaintance. You see, there is evidence that the fire escape has but recently been used. Now it is not so amusing, eh?
I don't care. I had nothing to do with this. I know you detectives. You're out to get a suspect, and just because a man was murdered in my room,
Gently, mademoiselle. All is not lost. Fortunately, you deal with Hercule Poirot, who goes one step beyond the obvious. You see, this poor man was not murdered in your room. He was killed in the room overhead.
But why? Why kill him upstairs and leave him on my doorstep?
That, mademoiselle, we shall discover in due course.
All right, Mr. Poirot, now that you've got the corpse safely locked in my room and us outside, what am I supposed to do? Sleep in the fire escape?
I do not think that will be necessary, mademoiselle. You are coming with me to the lobby where we shall wait for my friend, Inspector Stevens. He will see that you are comfortably sheltered for the night.
Oh. Tell me, Mr. Poirot, how'd you figure out that the murder took place upstairs?
Is it not apparent, Miss Thresher? Please to squeeze the bell for the elevator. I look out of your window and observe the fire escapes. And what do I find? Everywhere the dust reposes peacefully.
Well, naturally. Help is too busy to polish fire escapes.
Ah, mademoiselle, but on one stairway, the one leading up from your window, all is disarranged. There is a broad, clear path through the dust, and it is precisely the width of a human body. And since the path extends only to the floor above, it is obvious the body has been dragged down from room 615. Also, on the garments of the dead man, on the trousers, the left elbow, and across the shoulders, there are unmistakable traces of rust. Ah, voila, the elevator.
Going down.
Monsieur, would you be good enough to explain why you were so long in arriving?
Huh? Oh, it's this old car. Every once in a while it goes on a fritz.
Comment? On the fritz?
Out of order.
Yeah, it got stuck on the ninth.
You have been on the ninth floor all this time?
Yeah, that's right.
That is difficult to believe.
Why?
Because the indicator has been pointing to the basement.
That indicator. As soon as anything goes wrong, it flops.
I am not so sure that is true of the indicator. But unquestionably, monsieur, it is true of the too clever murder. As soon as anything goes wrong, it flops. Eh bien, Inspector Stevens, there is the situation. An unknown man strangled to death in one room and dragged down the fire escape to another.
Poirot, if this body is the person I think it is, the commissioner will have my head.
Ah, mon ami, forgive me, you seem agitated.
And we are warned, too. I assigned my best man to guard him, the smartest cop in my force, Sam Trimble. Good Lord, Poirot, there'll be an international scandal.
Gently, mon ami, you go too fast, even for Hercule Poirot.
Oh.
Who is this magnificent figure of international importance?
Parrish, Jonathan Parrish.
Parrish? Ah, oui, the name rings a bell. He is the big currency expert, eh?
That's right. He's on his way to Europe to set up the new paper currency for the liberated countries. Checked in at the Windsor today. Was supposed to pick up some papers, dyes, and inks, and then hop a bomber tonight.
The fifth floor, please. An enormous undertaking, and one of great importance.
And I was responsible for his safety. He's supposed to be an eccentric sort of guy. No photographs, no publicity. Trimble was the only man in the force who knew him at all, and Trimble failed. Do you see what this means, Poirot?
I see only this, my friend. We have arrived at the first step in the solution of this distressing murder. For now we know the motive. This way, Inspector. This is the room. Mademoiselle Thresher, your key.
Here you are.
I'll never live this down.
Oh, you exaggerate, mon ami. Even the best of men sometimes fail. Regard, Inspector. Here is your corpse.
They certainly did a job. Thunderation.
You are shocked, monsieur?
Poirot, do you realize what's happened?
But of course, Inspector. It is not Jonathan Parrish who has been murdered, but your own faithful policeman, Sam Trimble.
Poirot, that's not very funny. You knew it all the time.
Pardon, mon ami, I knew nothing of the sort.
But you distinctly told me.
No, Inspector, you told me. To me, the dead man was an unknown corpse. It could be anyone. But when you speak of two men, one a wealthy financier of international importance, the other a police officer, by employing the little gray cells, it is not difficult to conclude that the corpse with the large, high, comfortable shoes and the plain suit is the policeman.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
Monsieur, there is no time now for the profuse apologies.
Yeah, you're right. I've got to get to Parrish at once. The poor guy doesn't even know his bodyguard's gone. Hello. Operator, what room is Jonathan Parrish in? Huh? 615. Hold on. Poirot, that's the room directly over this one where Trimble was killed.
Precisely.
Operator, let me talk to Mr. Parrish.
I think you will find the gentleman does not answer.
Why not?
Oh, obviously, he would not witness a murder without reporting it. On the other hand, he too may...
Good Lord, Poirot, do you think he's dead too? Well, we know he received a warning from Hillary Kent.
I do not follow you, mon ami.
Huh? No, I don't blame it. Hillary Kent is a criminal egomaniac.
Ah, one who commits crime chiefly for the pleasure of battling the police, eh?
Exactly. Well, this Hillary Kent, or somebody who calls himself Hillary Kent, is one of those guys. He pulled off a few clever jobs and got away with them. We don't know anything about him, but whoever he is, he's got to get his thrill out of every job. So he makes it a rule to warn his victim.
Ah, oui. I know well the type. And Monsieur Parrish, I take it, has received such a warning.
Right. Now you see why I assigned my best man.
Yeah, but now we must hasten upstairs to Monsieur Parrish's room. Already it may be too late.
Yeah, I'll go too. I don't want to stay here with this body.
You'll stay right here, Miss Thresher, until I give you permission.
If you do not mind, myself, I am not averse to Miss Thresher's company. I find her very intriguing.
No answer.
But naturally, you did not expect the murderer to sit down and wait for us. You will have to employ the pass key.
Remember, Miss Thresher, you're not to touch anything.
It's perfectly all right. I'm wearing gloves.
The inspector is thinking of fingerprints. Well, I do not think he will find any. Monsieur Kent, or whoever the killer may be, is too clever to leave any such traces.
Yeah, maybe. But I want to be sure we don't lose even the tiniest clue.
An excellent approach, mon ami. There are many interesting things we may learn here about Monsieur Parrish.
He certainly gets around a lot.
Oui, the labels on his luggage are from the four corners of the earth.
Miss Thresher, I said you're not to touch anything.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's only a book.
Books may be of great significance. Ah, oui. This one, for example. It is no ordinary book. It is a stamp album of great value. Some of these stamps are almost without price. Very interesting. This Guatemala blue...
Put up your hands. All of you. Go.
Federation.
Don't move. I said don't move.
Have no fear, monsieur. I will not dispute the authority of your gun.
Mister, you can't get away with this. Put your gun down and talk fast. Who the devil are you?
But obviously, Inspector, this is the man we seek. Monsieur Jonathan Parrish.
That's just who I am. All right, speak up. Which one of you is Hillary Kent?
Hillary Kent?
Yes.
Well, now, wait a minute, Mr. Parrish. You've got this all wrong. I'm Inspector Stevens, Homicide Squad, and this is Hercule Poirot, the famous Belgian detective.
Yeah, so you say. You don't look like policemen to me, particularly that little squirt with a silly mustache. You stay right where you are till I check on you.
Eh bien, Monsieur Parrish, now that you are satisfied as to our identity...
Well, I've heard of you, of course. You're supposed to be the greatest French detective in the world.
Oh, always people say that about me, monsieur, but it is not entirely true. I am not French. I am Belgian.
Well, I wish you'd all get out of here and leave me alone. I'm expecting my daughter, and I don't want her running into a room full of policemen.
But, monsieur, you are in great danger. You must be protected every moment.
You offering me police protection? Not worth a hoot.
I beg your pardon.
That's what I said, not worth a hoot. I have protection. Some detective they assigned to me. Where is he?
He is dead.
What?
He was murdered in this very room while protecting you.
Therefore, if you do not object too violently, I shall undertake to protect you until you step aboard your airplane.
All right, stay. I don't know how long it'll be. I'm just waiting for one little parcel to be delivered. Then I'm off.
Monsieur is taking with him much equipment?
Yes, quite a load. I've already sent most of it off to the airport.
Ah, bon. That is good.
Miss, don't eat that chocolate. It may be poison.
Oh, nonsense. This candy isn't poisoned.
I wouldn't be too sure. That box of candy supposedly came from my daughter, Laura. It was delivered a little while ago.
But you suspect she did not send it?
Well, she's supposed to come here in person. Should be here now, in fact. So why should she send it?
You are very shrewd, mon ami.
Excuse me.
Wait a minute, Johnny. Come back here. What you want?
Nothing. I just wanted to see if Mr. Parrish got his extra laundry box okay.
Yes, I received it.
Okay. Excuse me.
I picked up a few more things to take along, special dyes and inks. They'll just about fill up that laundry box. Excuse me, I've got to go into the bedroom and finish packing.
Crusty old bird, isn't he?
How would you be if you knew somebody was out to kill you? No wonder he's jittery.
Ah, he is irritable and nervous. That perhaps explains it.
Explains what?
Why he wears upon his feet that unique pair of socks, one of which is green and the other brown.
All right, if the man wants to be eccentric, let him be. I've still got a murderer to catch. Do you want to come along?
No, Inspector. I have attached myself to Monsieur Parrish, and I propose to see that...
Come in.
Inspector, one of the men found this on the sidewalk outside the hotel. Thought you might want to take a look at it before turning it into the lost and found.
Okay, Brady, thanks. Lady's purse. Usual assortment of stuff. Cosmetics, perfume, change, keys. You make anything of it, Poirot?
Oh, sacre bleu.
What is it?
These initials, LP. Monsieur Parrish.
Eh?
What did you say was the name of your charming daughter?
Laura.
Oh, Lord. L.P. Laura Parrish.
Poirot, where are you going?
I have a little idea. Mademoiselle Fresher, please to accompany me.
How about Mr. Parrish? You were so attached to him.
I have become momentarily detached. I leave him in your care, Inspector. Protect him with the apple of your eye. Come, it will not be the first time you have left the elevator unattended, Monsieur Johnny. Come along.
Mr. Poirot, you're wasting your time in this basement, believe me.
Nevertheless, it interests me. Please to light the way.
There's nothing here, just a lot of ash cans.
One moment. What is behind this door?
Well, that's the laundry bin. We keep the solid linen in there. You won't find anything in there.
We shall take one brief glance, eh?
There, you see? Nothing but a pile of dirty sheets and pillowcases.
Good gracious, what a laundry bill they must have.
Eh bien, let us proceed to... One moment.
What is it?
Sacre bleu, here protruding from under these sheets.
Holy cow.
A foot, a small foot. This is what I feel.
Look!
Ah, it moves. Then we are not too late. Quickly, monsieur, help me to uncover her.
That's all I know, Mr. Poirot. I was walking along the street toward the hotel. Just as I passed the alley, I was pulled in. I tried to scream, but something was pressed against my mouth.
Chloroform, Miss Parrish. Had you seen your assailant, you would have seen Hilary Kent. Hello, Miss Parrish. You are most fortunate. Another few minutes under those linens, and who knows? Voilà. Here is the room of your father. Inspector Stevens, here is Miss Parrish.
Oh, well, that's a relief. Come in. I was afraid, Poirot, you'd turn up with a body. How'd you manage to find her?
That is not important now. We have found her. But we seem to have lost the father.
Oh, yes. Miss Parrish, I'm sorry. Your father's terribly upset about you, but his material was delivered and he had to rush off to the airport.
Oh, no. Don't tell me I missed him after all this.
Ah, ma pauvre petite. We have neglected you, eh? Miss Fresher, your room is now free of corpses. Please take Mademoiselle Parrish down and extend to her the first aid.
Come along, Nora. Thank you.
Inspector, I hope you do not later have cause to regret that you permitted Parrish to go off to the airport unprotected.
He'll be all right. Besides, I've got a job to do here, although, frankly, I'm in a complete fog. I can't make head or tail of the whole business.
No, Stevens. The head and the tail we have.
What?
Yes, it is merely a fragment of the middle that we still lack.
Well, who is it? Hey, where are you going?
To see how Miss Parrish is, and to telephone the airport to see that Mr. Parrish receives the proper attention. Au revoir.
Mr. Poirot, where are you taking me now? I'd like to have some...
Mr. Poirot.
Hello? Someone calls?
It's Johnny in that parked car.
Mr. Poirot, I got a message for you from Inspector Stevens. He rushed off a minute ago.
From Stevens? What is it? What is the message?
He says he just got word that Mr. Parrish has been seriously hurt in an automobile accident on North Salem Road.
Mon Dieu, this is too much.
You ought to get there as fast as you can. Here's the address.
52 North Salem Road. Monsieur, your duties for the day are over.
Yeah.
And this is your vehicle?
Yeah, why?
There is no time to seek a taxi, so I will impose on your kindness. Miss Thresher, quickly, please.
Okay. North Salem Road, right?
No, to the airport.
What?
But Mr. Parrish isn't at the airport. He's injured on North Salem Road.
No, mademoiselle. That is what I was intended to believe. Do you not think so, Johnny? He is not there, I assure you.
How do you know?
Well, North Salem Road is not on the way to the airport. It is in the opposite direction. This is merely a trick to keep us from the flying field. We must hurry there before it is too late.
Well, the airplane is still there, but I don't see anything of it.
Voilà, over there.
Parrish, as large as life.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Come along, please. Both of you. Monsieur Parrish.
Monsieur Poirot. My daughter. Is she?
She is at the Hotel Monsieur Rescue. She has had a small misadventure, but she is entirely safe.
Oh, thank heaven.
You are relieved, eh?
Am I? I don't think I'd have gotten on that plane if you hadn't found her. Fortunately, I didn't have to. They've been delayed a little.
Poirot. Inspector Stevens, I knew you would not walk into the trap.
Yeah, but as usual, you beat me to it. I was halfway out to North Salem Road before I realized what was cooking.
Eh bien, here is Mr. Parrish safe and sound, eh? I suggest the bomber be inspected with great care. There may be sabotage.
Good idea.
Also, have all the doors of this building guarded.
Mr. Poirot, do I have to hang around here?
But of course, Johnny. We may require you for our return trip. Oh, Monsieur Parrish, here is your pilot who approaches.
Oh, we're ready now, Mr. Parrish.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Captain, here comes my luggage. Will you see that it gets aboard?
All right, sir.
And be especially careful of that wooden crate. Well, goodbye, Inspector. I must admit you've been extremely helpful, and I'm much obliged.
Not at all. Goodbye and happy landing.
Fisher?
Goodbye, sir.
Sir Poirot, it's been a privilege to know you. I'm only sorry I couldn't remain to see you break the case.
But you have, monsieur.
I beg your pardon?
The case, it is broken. Inspector, meet Hilary Kent, the gentleman to whom you have just wished bon voyage.
Hilary Kent? You're a mad, Poirot.
Good gracious, I thought he was Paris.
And that wooden crate which I have waited so long to see, it is not to be moved, Inspector.
Why not?
Because, mon ami, it contains the body of Jonathan Parrish. A charming restaurant, this, n'est-ce pas? The planes circling about give one the feeling of flying, eh?
Oh, the feeling I've got is that fine gives you. Keep me from it.
Oh, that is natural. I, too, do not like murder, Miss Thresher. Inspector Stevens. Everything is taken care of?
Yeah, they're taking Kent away now.
Then perhaps you will join us in a little supper.
No, thanks, Poirot. I've got to get back. I just dropped over to ask you a few questions.
For example?
Well, when did you first suspect that Kent was impersonating Parrish?
Almost from the start. When we enter the room of Monsieur Parrish, what do we find? An amazing paradox. On the one hand, we have a man who is an ardent stamp collector whose album is in perfect order. Each stamp, each shade of stamp, precisely in its proper place, except the most valuable one of all, a Guatemala blue reposing among American 3-cent stamps. Later, when I look at his socks, one green and one brown, I am certain. The man in the room is colorblind.
And therefore not Parrish, the stamp collector.
More important than that, he cannot be Parrish, the currency expert, who is to select the colors and shades of the new paper money. Therefore, if the man in the room is not Parrish, who is he?
Obviously, Hilary Kent.
Then why didn't you arrest him right away?
Because without a body, one cannot prove a murder. And I felt sure Monsieur Kent would lead me to the body.
Then you weren't guarding him, you were watching him.
Precisely.
Well, you weren't so smart. When you let him out of your sight, he might have gotten away in the plane.
Not at all. When I called the airport, it was to make sure that the plane would not leave until I gave the word.
You know everything, don't you?
Some things are obvious, mademoiselle. We can suppose Hilary Kent discovers the nature of the mission Monsieur Parrish is engaged in. Ah, what a magnificent opportunity for a swindle, eh? Perhaps the greatest in history. To remove Jonathan Parrish, fly to Europe as Parrish, deliver the papers, the formulas, the dies to the proper authorities, and then, at the moment juste, counterfeit the new currency and reap a huge fortune.
Jumping codfish. The man must be mad.
Perhaps, mademoiselle, but he is also a genius, eh? He learns that Parrish is at the Hotel Windsor in room 615. He knocks on the door. Parrish admits him and is at once strangled to death, eh? But the body, that must be disposed of, where no one will find it. There is but one thing to do. Take the body to Europe in the very packing case which stands in the room.
Then you just guessed where the body was.
No, Inspector. There was proof in the room. You remember the second laundry box which Hilary Kent asked for? This is for some special inks, he says to us, which I have only now purchased. Obviously, this is a lie. On such a mission, one does not purchase supplies at the last minute, eh? Hence, I know that these inks and dyes have been removed from some other box or crate to make room for the body.
Gracious, it's as plain as the nose on my face. What about Laura Parrish?
Oh, I've got that figured out. She calls up and says to Kent, "Pop, I'm coming over." Of course, he can't allow that or the jig's up, so he gets down to the alley and eliminates her. Right, Poirot?
Exactly. As for poor Tremble, he has been with Parrish. He knows him. When he knocks on the door and Kent appears, he demands to see Parrish. Kent kills him, and since the packing case is already occupied, drags him down to Miss Thresher's room.
That was his big mistake. He should never have started up with me.
Excuse me for a minute. I think that's the morgue wagon pulling in.
Mademoiselle, may I ask you a question of a personal nature?
Fire away.
Mademoiselle Abby, you are not now engaged in a business enterprise.
No.
Eh? Are you fluent with the shorthand and the typewriter?
Why, yes.
Bon. Mademoiselle, I find you both intelligent and amusing. A rare combination in a woman. Moreover, I am in great need of a secretary with your superb qualifications.
Why, Mr. Poirot.
true, you do not yet employ the little gray cells to the best advantage. Nevertheless, if you are interested...
Oh, Mr. Poirot, for 10 years I've been devouring detective stories, and you ask me if I'm interested. Chief, you've got a secretary.
Well, Poirot, they're taking Kent away now. I guess that winds up the case.
Not quite, Inspector. Tell me, where does Monsieur Kent reside?
We found a lease on him for an apartment in Gramercy Park.
That is a good neighborhood?
Oh, swell. It's right in the heart of the city. But why do you ask?
I do not think Monsieur Kent will need an apartment for some time. But I do. You see, my friends, it is as I have said. To find an apartment in New York City is the essence of simplicity. One has only to solve 2 murders.
Agatha Christie's Poirot is directed by Carl Eastman. This is Mutual.
Cerebral Cinema hopes you have enjoyed this movie of the mind.